Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1AW, Whiskey 1, Good Vibrations. I have another story about my time, involving my time at W1AW, the ARRL headquarters station. I worked there from February of 1977 until late in 1978, when I transferred to the technical department and served in various roles there. But that was a lonely job. Back then, my hours were from 4 o'clock p.m. or 5 o'clock p.m. thereabouts until 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 a.m. I think it was probably 4 o'clock, maybe even 3 to 1. But it was only 4 days a week. And it was, I believe, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I attended the radio equipment and went through various experiences with it, none of them very spectacular. But one night, there was a knock at the door, and I assumed it was probably some visitors, and I was correct, but they were not the usual visitors. They were kids, local kids, and I was so lonely and so bored that I entertained them. I showed them around the radio station, went down into the basement, past the Stanley P. Gibilisco W1GV Memorial Overhang. I'll make a story about that sometime. I'll bet you can guess what that's all about. But I showed them the station, and they came a number of nights thereafter. But eventually, as little kids will do, probably around age 8 to 10, they turned that radio station into their little playground they could come to. A unique little playground. Well, that station was not designed as a playground. There's a lot of equipment there where people could get seriously hurt if they don't know what they're doing, and I doubt that those little kids were extra class amateur radio operators and were familiar with what can happen to you when you get 3,000 or 4,000 volts through any part of your body. Besides all of that, I could be, or the ARRL could be held liable for any accidents that might occur to these kids there. So finally, I had to blow them off. I had to tell them, you can't come here anymore, I'm sorry. I forget, I believe I may have contacted their parents, or their parents may have come over there one time, and I explained the situation to them, and that was the last I saw of them. But that was some of the most interesting company I had at that job. 3 or 4 in the afternoon until 1 in the morning, 4 days a week. I had weekends off. And that gave me the opportunity. No, wait a minute. I worked over the weekend. I believe it was maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday or something like that. So I had 3 weekdays off. And I did a lot of things, especially in the summer, like go to the swimming pool when it wasn't crowded, and swim laps in water that was sometimes very cold. They had pollution alerts there in the Hartford, Connecticut area, where the ozone trapped from automobile exhaust and things like that became so bad that they advised people with respiratory conditions to stay indoors. Well, I was out there swimming, and I never suffered any symptoms from it at all. You could smell it, though, and it smelled like chlorine bleach, like laundry being done. I didn't like that particular smell very much, but it never irritated me. And the same was true with the VOG, volcanic smog in Kona, Hawaii. It irritated a lot of people, but it never bothered me. So I was lucky that way, but those little kids, that was That's one of the more interesting stories about that station. I showed them around and had a little relief from the loneliness of that particular job. Even though I was transmitting signals to thousands, possibly even millions of people, I was all alone in that station. Well, it was the dream job for a radio ham, the only job I ever applied for when I got out of college, and I got it. And to this day, I have fond memories for various reasons of that job. Fun job, but I don't think I'd go back there. I like the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of amateur radio way too much. So much more peaceful, so much more room, so much more natural beauty here. But that's one more story. If you want to hear any others, subjects or things like that, just shove me an email or put a comment on one of these. I'm probably not going to leave comments open on this video. Maybe if I remember, I will. Who knows? Wait and see. Until next time, 73, which means best regards in ham radio jargon. And da-da-da-da-da-da.